But like they say, there's starting off with two. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very late edition of hashtag Fade to Black. I am your host, Donnell Lamonte Morris, here with the main man, the legend, Peace Johnson.
One monkey don't stop no show. It don't matter. We're gonna keep it rolling. Like Otis is. I'm like Otis. I'm gonna lose every member of the band. Still gonna move forward. Goddamn it.
Right. We like to thank our audience.
Good evening to you.
Good evening. How everybody doing? So our topic is a continuation from our last show about sports. And guess who just jumped in? Hopefully, I gotta wait till he finishes connecting in. He's here. We were just about to talk about you, man. Continuation of the sports, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, he got the white hat on too. He looked like he ready to drop some knowledge on somebody.
I know, right? He's ready.
You came in like the prison Muslim. What we first must do is articulate the analytical science.
So y'all already know what it is. We're about to jump into our opening statements. Let me go ahead and get the tab ready. I can't wait for this one because football just started back up again. And today, no, not you, Beast Johnson. I'm wearing the black hat. So you're going to start us off.
I'm in a good mood, so I'm cool with that. Good evening, one and all. Welcome to the show. I'm in good spirits today. Feel real inspired. Finish some music. So currently the world is really cool. So that's going to be my message today. In spite of everything that's fucking going on, no matter how morbid, no matter how macabre, no matter how just downright ugly the world and your personal world may get at times, take the time to find something that brings you joy. Take that energy and put it into something that you actually enjoy doing. You'll be surprised how therapeutic and cathartic it is just indulging in your hobbies. As an artist and as a songwriter, I find myself exploring a lot of things when I'm frustrated and just decide to write. And I end up making a lot of revelations personally that I didn't discover at that moment. And it wasn't until after people heard the material and responded to it that the true, muse of it became apparent to me. In spite of everything that's going on, I was able to find a little joy and positivity. Find the laughter, no matter how shitty it is. Find a joke out of it. It might seem rude or crass or inappropriate, but anyone that can find laughter and joy in misery and pain, mentally and psychologically and emotionally, is one of the strongest people you want to have on your side when dealing with the trappings of life. Because that individual knows what to do when life sucker punches them in the mouth and then gives them a swift entry and the dick kicks in. They know how to eat it, walk it off, and turn right back around and look that motherfucker in the face and say, let's go. That's the type of energy you need in your life. Plus, when they're drunk, they tell some of the greatest fucking stories. They're a hell of a laugh. So I'll leave that as my message. Let's get into this show. And let's indulge and educate and enlighten. I use the floor.
My opening statements is today is a very important and very sad day. Today is 9/11, ladies and gentlemen. I know a lot of y'all can remember where were you when this was happening. So I'm gonna tell you just a little bit of where I was at. I was in the math class. I was in the eighth grade, Miss Dixon's class. We went by school names. I'm not school names. I mean, like, we went by names, and I was on the seals. Don't ask. And just seeing the towers, seeing that airline hit into one of the towers, and then seeing the towers fall. I was one of the first ones to see the towers fall, where everybody else was talking like, "Yo, what's going on?" And then when one of the towers fell, I was like, "Yo, the towers is falling." It was surreal. I believe that day they let everybody leave early to go home. But now, at an age where I can comprehend history, where people said that 9/11 is the darkest time in American history, I beg to differ. I beg to differ. What happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and places like that are the darkest times in history that people don't even talk about or even know about. And for those who don't know what that is, Black Wall Street, where an angry white mob, military, military style, devastated, looted, rioted a Black community. And in the aftermath, the Black residents of that town were to blame. And still to this day, barely anybody knows anything about it. So, yes, 9/11 is a dark time. Not the darkest time, it's a dark time. But let's not forget, way before 9/11, what happened in Tulsa, what happened in other Black towns that was thriving, making millionaires. Nowadays, we've been billionaires and trillionaires, lost their lives and their livelihood. So remember, when you hear 9/11, think about what happened way before. And with that, I yield the floor.
And Sunda, greetings. 9/11 happens to be Ethiopian New Year. And I remember where I was on Ethiopian New Year. I'm going to tell this story. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers kept a secret marijuana field on the south side of Chicago, on Lake Michigan, on the border between Illinois and Indiana. I used to trespass on the U.S. Army Corps of Engineer fenced off and barbed wire property, and I used to raid their secret cannabis field. And on the morning of September 11th, that great Ethiopian New Year, I was in the field harvesting hundreds of plants. And on my way out exiting the field, I saw a bunch of police cars gathering behind one of their buildings. And I thought that they were there to catch me. So my heart was beating fast. And I did everything I could not to panic because I thought, okay, this is going to be it. This is my confrontation with the occupational army in our community telling me that possessing this plant was a crime. Somehow, I managed to escape the field and get back to my house. And that's when I turned on the radio and then turned on the TV and saw the images of the fire and the smoke. Now, at that time, I was a devout Rastafarian, which meant I read my Bible and interpreted it from a Black Ethiopian perspective. And it clearly said in Revelations 18, the prophecy of the towers falling. It talked about I saw an angel take a great millstone and cast it into the sea. Well, the prophet back then didn't have a word for airplane. So this big piece of metal in the language of that day, 2,000 years ago, said, I saw, as it were, an angel take a great millstone and cast it down towards the sea. Well, if you look at the towers, it's rising out of Manhattan Bay, out of this body of water. So I could understand how a prophet 2,000 years ago would see this airplane and call it a great millstone, look like it coming out of the sky. And Revelations 18 said, all the merchants of the earth were gathered, those that were engaged in international trade, and the onyx, the bdellium, the precious stones, and even the souls of men, the great merchants of the earth. So I could understand World Trade Center. Literally, the title of these buildings is the center of world trade, which is the context for Revelations 18. And it said that she would be utterly burned by fire. Babylon, the great whore, the center of world trade. And the official explanation of why those towers fell was because the fire melted the support beams. Revelations 18 says, and her judgment shall come in 1 hour. And true enough, the great fire destroyed those buildings in 1 hour. And it said, when you see the smoke of her burning, everywhere would weep and lament and wail. And we all know those pictures of the smoke of these towers was broadcast live all over the world. And everybody was weeping and lamenting and wailing. And Revelations 18 said, when you see the smoke of her burning, come out of her, my people, that you partake not of her judgments, neither of her sins and her plagues, which are to come. So it was a warning that when you see this happen, you're supposed to leave so that you don't partake of the judgments and sins. Revelations 18 said, when you see these towers fall and you see the smoke of her burning, it said, rejoice, give unto her double. So I remember that day saying, I was rejoicing. Revelations 18, the prophecy has been fulfilled. This is the sign, Black people, that we must come out of her. And I did. I went to Africa. So for all the people out there that were, Christians and reading their Bibles, here you have prophecy fulfilled in our lifetime. And yet, nobody told you. That's my opening statement.
Is it just me, or those were the most powerful opening statements that have been on the show? We just all came out the gate. What's that?
Thank you, Brother Baleka, for inspiring and whimsical. And thank you, Donnell, for making me feel old as fuck. Because I'm over here thinking I was young during 9/11. This nigga come out, he's not talking about, I was in the 8th grade. I'm like, 8th grade? Nigga, I was a senior in high school. I thought I was young. Nigga, you that young?
I don't think I said my teacher's name. Her name was Miss Dixon. Miss Dixon. She was a black teacher, and you could just tell she just put on too much makeup. You could just see it,
Oh
when
yeah, I
she
know that.
sweat. You could just see the sweat come off her face. I'm like, teach. I didn't want to be rude because she was always nice to me. She always saw something in me because math is not my biggest forte. So she was always there helping me out and all that stuff. So Miss Dixon, if you watch right now, thank you for everything. Yeah, she when she saw that screen and saw what was happening, I saw her soul stepped out her body. I mean, that day was surreal. That had everybody looking in the sky. I mean, for real. But other than that, let's go into our show. Let me go ahead and put the black hat because Mr. O is not here. Mr. O, if you're watching right now, hi. How you doing? You already missed your presence. But let me go ahead and put on the black hat. NFL just started yesterday. Anybody watch the game? I know I did. Did you
I
watch the
did.
game? So if y'all wasn't too hip to what happened during the before the game, both quarterbacks from both teams of Kansas City Chiefs, Chiefs Patrick Mahomes, and for the Texans it was what's his name Watson. They both agreed to do a sign of unity before the game, so they all locked arms. And when they was doing this, the fans literally booed. They didn't even like set up like all it was not just the players, it was the staff. It was everybody, including the referees. As they was continuing to like lock arms, people are booing. Now, I'm not saying this like I'm shocked and surprised. I wasn't surprised. And I just want to start that off with the show. So hearing that, rather than just saying you're not surprised, what does that how that make you feel? Because I can go ahead and pull up the video while y'all give y'all thoughts.
It shows the true mentality of Americans. It goes back to the whole point of I want wanting to be comfortable and complacent. They want everything back to normal. When you say normal, they mean shut your mouth, do your job, keep this shit moving. It happened. Boo hoo, tear shit, hug giving. All right, back to work. That's the true American mentality. And you're seeing that because a lot of people are more annoyed at the fact that they're still promoting it. Not even the gestures like that sign of unity, just for the simple fact that you have players that have Black Lives Matter or Breonna Taylor or whatever they want to put to show their affiliation, that show their support. You have people that are pissed off at that. So really, what it is just people are people are truly tired of talking about it and hearing it, and they want some kind of quick fix to happen.
Anything that Seepaway?
I'm not really concerned with the behavior of mostly white Americans. We've
Me
already
neither.
known for all this time. My
You made
concern
me drop my
is
lighter.
my concern is we all know that the NFL is a business designed to make massive profits for the owners. The
Mhm.
owners are white plantation owners. And just like
Yep.
back in 120 years ago, right, they would allow us to play games for their amusement. If you ever watched Roots, you saw Chicken George. And they would allow some of these sportsmen, these gamers, athletes, whatever you want to call them, some privileges. You got some better clothes. You got to travel a little bit. You had a status and a privilege greater than everybody else on the plantation. The thing that I'm concerned with is professional sports, whether it be the NFL. I know a little more about the NBA. The NBA made $8 billion in revenue in 2018. There are 30 teams, each of which is valued at $1 billion. The thing that I'm concerned with is if we really are being genocided or in a war, right? Why do we continue to participate in a system that is making the most and massive amount of profits for these few white plantation owners? We could have a massive economic hit. We could hurt them massively in 30 major cities. We could cause massive economic damage to the people who are oppressing us if we just non-violently refuse to play. Nobody would watch the NFL or the NBA if none of the black players were playing.
Right.
So my main concern is, why are they continuing to serve these few white plantation owners that are making more money than the athletes?
Because
I don't
they are
understand. Why are we even
elephants.
supporting this?
It's the mentality. They are elephants standing next to their chains, free, but not truly understanding that they're free.
All right,
They've
so
been conditioned to that shit so long. There's like this. We're on the outside. We're on the other end of the tent. We're like, yo, you're free. You're not shackled. All you got to do is walk forward. Some of them are right there at the fucking door. They're like, all you got to do is take one step over, and you are officially free. Just take one step over. Hello there. Their mentality is so skewed and so perverted and distorted. This is the only sense of normalcy they have. It's almost akin to being institutionalized.
yeah, so that's what I was about to add on about to say. Because you got that one friend, let's say you at a job and that the rules are changing. It's going to make you have to work more hours to take away your overtime. You don't have they're not even insuring you no more. And you like, man, I can't do this, man. I quit. Dude, you should quit too. And that one friend's like, man, I got to get paid. I gotta, I gotta continue doing this. But man, you're still not covered. So if you get into an accident or you hurt yourself, guess what? Your business is not liable for it. So what do you say about those individuals that always use that as an excuse?
Well, right now we're talking about professional athletes who collectively have 75% of African American wealth are to the athletes and entertainers. So we're talking about the most financially secure and stable people in our community. If they were to quit their jobs, they still have these great, comfortable houses, and they still have financial resources that we don't have. They're the only ones that can afford to quit their job and still not have to worry about feeding their family for the next 5 years.
Okay,
So
now, yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so what I would say is we have to know who we're talking to. We're talking to the athletes. They don't need to make the money because they already have more than everybody else anyways. They're the only ones that can afford the financial sacrifice. So it's a nonviolent, peaceful protest where you simply refuse. We've been using on the last couple shows the analogy of the casino. The casino is rigged to make money for the owners of the casino, but they can only make money if people voluntarily go to the casino. If everybody just boycotted going to the casino owners are out of business. That hurts them. So it's the same thing. If the athletes would just refuse to play, these cities that have stadiums, there's no ticket sales, there's no vending, there's no merchandising. You will do massive economic damage. And this is we always talk about the demands. we're not demanding anything. We're just loudly shouting and asking for what we want. Demands come when there's a or else part. The or
Or a
else
level of
could be,
aggression.
right? The or else can be, if you don't do this, this, and this, we're going to cause
Then
massive economic damage to 30 cities because we're not going to play any sports. That's a nonviolent or else that we could be using right now to leverage for all those people talking about voting. And we're just not using what is already under our control. These are the people that are the best equipped financially to be engaged in some kind of strike, employment strike. And they're not doing
So, all right. So I'm about to go ahead and show you this video from last night from the game, and I got the volume on, so hopefully y'all can hear it.
Thank you.
you can tell it's awkward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Like to the
it's awkward. That's just awkward as fuck.
Yeah, it's when I saw that and I just heard the boos, I was like I won't say really in the way that I'm surprised. I was like, really? They literally just wanted to lock arms, and then you heard the cheers when they stopped, which I'm like, really?
That's all that was.
So what? So what? They're not they're speaking. That's just a symbolic show, and there's other people. It's the wrong conversation. Either we start learning to speak the language of power. We got to get off of this symbolism stuff that isn't doing anything for us. Why were you even watching the game in the first place? Why isn't our community holding our athletes accountable and saying, look, we're not watching. We're gonna disavow ourselves from all this sports stuff right now, and we're gonna ostracize you if you continue to play.
Okay, then
that's what the Amish do.
I'm having.
But
that goes back to what I said.
But let me play the black hat. What's the plan? What is the plan? Because you got people that are addicted to sports. Probably that's their life. You can tell somebody it's like this. You can take a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it. So what is the plan? Because that's the one thing.
Full-blown blackout. It is a full-blown blackout. When I say blackout,
yes,
I mean blackout in a twofold sense. Blackout part one, completely shut the black community, the Black American populace, completely shuts ourselves away from the American business, American capitalist structure. We stop indulging. We stop giving you our money. The second part, well, before I begin the second part, the first part as well is to reinvest that money in already established black enterprises and black-owned entrepreneurs and use available money to help boost that economy. The second part is to get on your Amish. Those that do not get in line, those that feel some kind of way, you will be blacked out. Right, you will be shunned. Like what we're doing now with these apparent races. If you feel some kind of way about what we're doing, your picture's gonna pop up. Folk gonna know who you are, and you will have your scarlet letter, so to speak. So, if you do try to interact with blacks and black businesses, you will find your presence and services not needed. Like that's how the Amish do. When you go against them and you do something that's considered wrong in their eyes, you are completely shunned off to the point where your own mama can't even talk to you.
All right, go ahead, sleep away.
So Morris. So to your question, for example, right now I'm in a hotel in Milwaukee because tomorrow we're having a major rally for my cousin Jacob Blake. Milwaukee is just north of Kenosha, where Jacob Blake was shot. Milwaukee has one of the worst reputations between the police and the community. And it wasn't too long ago when there was an actual instance between the police and I think it was a player from the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, the basketball team.
Yeah, I remember that.
Now you say, well, what's the plan? Okay, we boycott them, but what's the plan? So, for example, whatever the demands are of that local community or of us as a nation, let's say just the number one demand is that the officer that shot my cousin must be arrested immediately and then put through the legal process. Let's say that was the only demand. Then what the Milwaukee Bucks are supposed to do is say, here's our demand, and the or else part is, if this doesn't happen, we're not playing any games in the city of Milwaukee. And then they're going to crunch the numbers and they're going to be like, dang, that's like $100 million worth of revenue for the city.
That's what I mean about the blackout.
Calculate the lesser of two evils is, you know what? We're going to go ahead and arrest this officer because it's the lesser of two evils. Now, I would suggest that the demands be a lot more than that. That the demands, be something like, what was the budget of the police force? And, people say defund the police. We say, whatever the budget was for the police force, that's the budget we want for the community development force that we're going to put together our community protection force. We want to be able to pay people every month. We want to pay legal gun owners to form a black militia in Milwaukee so that we can call the black 11. These people, in the same way that they get paid to be on the police force or they get paid to be in the military, well, we're going to pay our own militia. And you're going to give us the reparations money to do it, because if not, we're not playing any games in your city. And they're going to calculate the cost of that. Okay, they need 10 million to run this versus the city loses 100 million because they don't play any games. See, we got to get smart.
See, I hate both of y'all right now because I did say I was going to play devil's advocate because Mr. O is channeling through me. Seep away, damn it. So,
but before you do that, I got a joke. I got to make my joke because I seen Shannon on there, and
Shannon, I used to work with her in Kentucky.
Okay, so she is what I think she is, right?
What's that?
She's Caucasian.
Yes.
Okay, good. Good. Because the point is, she agrees with my point, and y'all know the rule. When white people agree with it, it's fact. You gotta believe it.
Hold on, wait a minute. Look, hold up. I am the devil's advocate. I'm supposed to be saying that. Stop it, Beach Johnson. So let me continue my black hat and challenge Mr. Because Mr. O, I can feel his spirit just going through me right now. So let's talk. Let me see. Look. So all right, you get me off track. So let's talk about the athletes. Because Seepaway, you did made a great point about the athletes. Like, okay, if y'all really about it, you wearing the Black Lives Matter, you wearing say their name, Breonna Taylor, to your brother Jacob Blake, cousin Jacob Blake. Okay, you wearing the shirt, you're still playing the game. That's great. But what are you doing, like, for Breonna Taylor to bring the freaking police officers?
That will require individuals like individuals like Marshawn Lynch and I want to say Warwick Davis, for example. And the reason why I bring them two gentlemen out is because they're both former professional football players that saved their money the money they made off of football, they didn't spend it, and they instead used it to put it back into the community. So if individuals like that who are know not only the sports side of that industry, but understand the business aspect that goes into it, if they are able to stand up and lead the charge, then a movement like that will be even more stronger because that the main point is going to come from a lot of these younger boys. You got boys that like 20, 21. Now they got 17 to 30 something $billion or $1 million, and they got a damn $12 million house that they just bought for them and their mama, right? All they're saying is, I got to get this money because I just spent all this money. So you have individuals like that can come in as like, I understand you. Now here's how you can move forward with what you got. You make this move. You stick to this commitment. It's almost akin to like weight loss. The act of the blackout is the exercise. That's the physical aspect of it. But now, the diet, it comes with the finances. How to really take your finances and keep what you got. You might have to downgrade to a smaller crib, but it's more functional for you and your family, and you can make sure bills is paid. You might drop a house down there. Now you got your bills paid for 3 years.
So this is my question for both of you that I'm putting on the floor. Okay, let's say LeBron James came up to the both of you and said, "Love the show. Y'all inspired me to, continue doing what I'm doing. What else do you need me to do? Because right now I'm the face of the NBA. What I say will go. What do you need me to do? Anything to make this situation better, not only for you and your family, but also for my family too, because I'm a black man too." Floor's open.
My previous statement. You need to seek out these two individuals, and this is why you need to seek these two individuals out. And whether they get along with you or not, you just need to understand their mindset and how they function with the amount of money that you yourself are accustomed to as well. And once you get that knowledge, you need to make that commitment. If you're willing to make that commitment, then go forward. But now you have the knowledge to truly make that commitment and not feel as though it was done in vain or done immature or premature.
Seaway.
I would say, LeBron, this is your moment to be the Muhammad Ali of our generation.
I was thinking the same
thing. You need to call all your NBA friends and have a private meeting. And together, all y'all need to agree that you are not playing any more NBA games until, and then come up with your list of demands in communication.
I would take it a step further.
In communication with the people who can properly frame the demands. And I'm not talking about little stuff. I'm talking about transfer of land. Okay. Real
sustainability of finance.
Real solutions. LeBron, because if you get 20 or 30 of the best NBA players and you all stand united and you say, these are the demands specifically, and it can be national or municipal in the following cities where there's an NBA. These are the demands, and if they're not met, the or else is we and every other black NBA player is going to refuse to play. And here are our projected economic consequences that you're going to suffer. Either we can't talk about, we love Muhammad Ali, we love John Carlos for, what he did in Mexico City. Those brothers lost their careers. Muhammad Ali went to jail, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
He did.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, they lost their careers. They weren't concerned with the money. Now, Beast makes a good point. A lot of these athletes are going to have to downsize. Imagine your biggest problem is, I got to go from a $12 million house to a $1 million house. Imagine that's the problem you got to deal with.
But I
Okay.
mean, yeah. But for me, is this? I shouldn't even be worried about the flipping house because think about it. You're coming from the slums. Majority of these athletes did not have very great. They had very humbling beginnings. And I think the word humble gets used loosely a lot because you have athletes that came from the worst of the worst and look where they are now. And for them to simply just forget the travesties, the issues, and the problems that they left that still continues on, to me, they be doing themselves a disservice to forget
I
about
don't
what's
think they're
going on back
forgetting.
then.
I think it was
They're,
Beast,
they're
and I think you
denying.
mentioned this too, Morris. It's not that they're forgetting. It's just that it's that what's that phrase, right? The lifestyle that I have become accustomed to.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that they're forgetting what's going on. It's just they, there's a mindset that you have invested all of your life to get to this point, right?
Now
To
you
be
want
able
to
to
see some
have
fruits of
these
your labor.
things. Yeah, nobody likes to quote unquote take a step backwards. So we have to be mindful. Yes, it is a sacrifice on their part, but it's a sacrifice that they more than anybody else can afford. So we have to be sensitive to that. We have to say, listen, in doing this, you rise to the Muhammad Ali status. You will go down in history as that generation of our athletes. Because look, they already, for better or for worse, they have already made the entertainers as our political spokespeople. Why is Ice Cube
So
meeting with the president?
Yeah,
Why?
see, and that was
Why?
my next question.
why did Sean Penn have a interview with El Chapo? Why he was
Right.
running from the police?
So
Yeah,
these entertainers, especially these athletes, one of our revolutionary leaders from the past said, in every era or epic in history, there's a historical imperative that you must either live up to or betray. For better or worse, the mantle has been given to celebrities now. In the past, they were just considered, fringe entertainers. Just shut up and dribble. But now,
Novelty.
now they have the spotlight. So your politics and your lifestyle choices, if you want to be considered a true leader, have to be in alignment. Meaning, if you want to be the leader of our community, you have to be saying and doing and living the things that show that it's the collective interest of the community is greater than your own individual personal interests.
right. And
To answer Sharon's point, what you're talking about, not a lot of people, a lot of artists, that is true. But when you really talk about that favor and clout and that mantle, true mantle, it goes beyond money. Because in LeBron's case, the money helps, but in Ice Cube's case, he doesn't have the money LeBron does, but his favor and his clout and that status of that mantle is at a higher level than LeBron's.
so
So you can't equate the money to it, but it does somewhat take a factor into it.
let's talk about Ice Cube. Ice Cube, he made his own little like I would
Monologue,
say
if you
policy,
will.
yeah, law policy of black people, what we need. This is what we need right now. This is how we're gonna do it. He was on
Excuse
shows
me.
like Boyce Watkins. He was even on the Breakfast Club. I think he was on The View. I think y'all can go ahead and quote me. Don't quote me on that. I'm just saying. But he went on and he's saying this is the needs that we want. We've been ignored. He even went on the way of saying we should hold our votes, not put words in his mouth. But can we agree that out of everybody, that Ice Cube is taking a much bigger step than LeBron James?
We can agree. I can
I
agree
agree.
that if anyone will speak on it, he's the most articulate and has the most experience in this endeavor, just looking at his backlog of music and looking at his actual activities and movements throughout the years, he's always been somewhat close, if not involved, within the movement, and at least being knowledgeable and understanding the true depths of what's going on, and try to elaborate and articulate that to others. So I would agree in that fact. So I feel like he is someone that is worth listening to.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, Ice Cube has a track record of speaking out and saying things that need to be said that are, again, anti-establishment. I'm personally, I'm neither for nor against Ice Cube. His music inspired me, back in the day. But what I'm saying is this: the premier thinker when it comes to the racial wealth gap and reparations is Sandy Darity.
Sorry, who?
Hey, do you all know who Sandy Darity is?
Okay. Sandy Darren?
Darity.
Sandy
Darity.
Darity.
No, I do not.
No, yeah. I have not heard the name.
Because they are giving Ice Cube and LeBron James the platform, and not Sandy Darity. Sandy Darity is an award-winning sociologist, ecologist. I believe he's you can Google him. I'm not sure if it's out of Duke. It's somewhere on the East Coast. But he is the premier Black intellectual when it comes to the racial wealth gap. He's the one that Antonio Moore is always referencing when Antonio Moore from Ados clique is talking about when they're talking about reparations. What I'm saying is, why isn't Biden meeting with Sandy Darity as opposed to Ice Cube? Why is it that the bulk of our people don't know Sandy Darity? Why are we not? Why isn't social media abuzz with all of Sandy Darity's brilliant work on not only the problem of the racial wealth gap, but the solution? See, this is what I'm saying. They're giving the wrong people the platform. Now those
wrong people got the wrong spotlight.
They're not wrong because they're not good people. They're just not the ones that have invested their life in studying and answering a particular problem or demand that our community has. So either our celebrities have to build relationships with these people and have them as counselors, or they have to stand up and say, while I appreciate you giving me the opportunity, I would respectfully defer on this issue and invite you to have Sandy Darity or somebody like that on your show, because they are the ones that are more knowledgeable and more articulate and have more visionary ideas on this. So this is the problem. The establishment has picked these celebrities because it's in their interest. Because they can say, look, right? We talk to the Black community. These are your heroes. These are your your favorite people. So the establishment is able to get social capital by having Cardi B and LeBron and Ice Cube. They're going for the social capital, not for the actual problem solution.
It's the popular vote versus electoral.
Yeah, and see, I was about to add on to that by saying they're safe. And what I mean by safe is
nobody's going to get mad.
Right, and they don't need like the harsh truth. It's just like,
even if they say something harsh, they're not going to get mad because Cardi B got a mouth on her. And even in a situation like that, she's not poised enough to keep herself that clean that long. Something's liable to slip out, but she's at that level where even if she gets a slip up or a slip out, nobody's gonna get mad. That's just her she's known for saying stuff like that from time to time. It's like, okay, it's like the uncle or granddad just kind of randomly just says racist shit, but he's been doing it so long, you just kind of don't
Numb
even
to
say
it.
nothing no more. Yeah, he's
You
like,
know,
that's just Uncle Paul. He don't mean
yeah,
it. He
that's
do
all.
everybody like that.
Yeah, and I just believe that, and you see it in these times of election nowadays, they go to the safe pick. They go to where they don't want the harsh truth. They just want to get like little, little
They
snippets
go
of
for the
truth.
quick fix. You
Yeah,
want the quick fix.
the little truths rather than getting the whole truth. It's like your mama told you to bring your ass home before the lights come on, and you forgot, and you just like, man, I could just say that I was held up. You coming up with all sorts of lies and all that stuff, but the harsh truth is you're gonna get your ass whipped when you get home, or unless you
Right.
can explain your way out of it, and it better be a good one. So so with that being said, I just believe that they just go for the safe pick. Period. They just want they want to hear what they want to hear. And that's how I feel. What about you, Superway? And then we're gonna take a quick little commercial break.
Not only the safe pick, they calculate. It's not just the safe pick to cut their losses. They pick people that's actually going to increase their social capital.
I agree with that too as well. But I want to remind people this is something that I should have been doing for the whole entire times we've been doing the show, and I've been not doing it. I need to let y'all know that there is a network that is coming, and also that we need y'all help. So we'll be right back after these breaks. And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. The Wet Network still getting. We was actually talking about that before the show. We still getting a lot of content out there and still working on a few parameters here and there. But we're gonna let you know when it's gonna be up. Also, don't forget to support us once again. I'm gonna give you our website on it just a little bit later into the show, and then also shout out to RealChairboyPopcorn.com, as you see it at the corner. Real good popcorn once again. Got this flavor right here.
Now, Brother Baleka, I was serious about that show for you. I'm going to call it Battle of the Wits. An intense, aggressive discussion of intellect.
So
Okay.
once again, shout out to Chairboy Popcorn. But let's go ahead and continue with the with what we have on hand. And I saw.
Well, I want to make a
comment.
Can I make a point? Can I make a point?
Yeah, go ahead, Sigway. Go ahead.
Society. Okay. So first of all, let me mention my background because I'm a world-class athlete. My background, I was a world-class swimmer in college, and in 1992, I had hoped to become the first African-American swimmer on the United States Olympic swim team. There was no such thing as professional swimming, but we all know that if you make it to the Olympics and being the first black, you're going to get opportunities and things like that. Now, unfortunately, I didn't make it. Okay. However, I continue to swim. I'm 49 years of age. Next year I'll be 50. I am, at one point, a couple years ago, I was the oldest male swimmer in the United States Professional Swimming League, which was called the Tier Pro Swim Series. So I'm still competing. Now, I can't make the finals and get a medal with our best high school and collegiate and Olympic swimmers. I'm not on their level, but I can qualify for the meets that they compete in, and I still do that. Now, because I took a DNA test, discovered my Bolanta ancestry, which comes from the current country of Guinea-Bissau. When I went there in January, I met with the Minister of Sports and discussed with him about me representing Guinea-Bissau in the Olympics in Tokyo, which was supposed to happen this year, but it's going to happen next year. So I'm going to become the first African American to discover their ancestral lineage, get citizenship, and compete for that country in the Olympics. Now, Guinea-Bissau is a small country. It's just 1.9 million people. In the last Summer Olympics, they had something like 6 or 8 athletes. They've never even had a swimmer, right, compete in the Olympics. At 50 years of age, I'm going to do a couple of things. I will be the oldest swimmer in Olympic history. I will be the first African American to go and compete for their own people, for where they come from in Africa. So I'm going to be doing some things that have never been done before. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because when that happens, as long as the sports world tells my story, then there's the potential for things like a book or
a movie,
documentary, or a
30
movie or
for
something
30.
like that. Okay. So I've been explaining to my wife that the only way to break free of the economic wage slavery that Black people suffer in America is you got to become a celebrity somehow. Okay. The vast majority of our community that's in the top 10% of wealth holders in our community are not Black businessmen and women. There are some, but the vast majority of them are entertainers who turn that into a business. Okay? You don't see a whole lot of Black manufacturers, a whole lot of Black barbershop, hair shop owners making $200,000 or more, which is the basic cutoff for you to enter the top 10% of Black wealth in this country. A mere $200,000. Okay? To be in the top 10% of wealth, white wealth in America, you're talking multi-millions of dollars. Okay? Yeah. So big racial wealth gap. What I'm saying is young people are taught that their worth, their value, their success has to do with their income. And the role models that we're presented with in terms of living that lifestyle are entertainers and athletes. So the entire incentive network coming out of the slavery period is, if you can entertain white people, we will allow you a level of privilege and comfort we don't allow the rest of the Black people. That is the position that has always been the position of Black people that can sing or dance or, like fiddler, play the fiddle, play an instrument, or play some kind of sport. It's the economic opportunities that allow you to escape wage slavery.
All right. So,
and even if it's not a professional sport, if you're good at it and you can do something and it's an interesting story, then the first book deal I got for 6 figures was because of an article that was an 8-page article they wrote about me in Sports Illustrated. After that article came out, right, literally a book deal fell in my lap. If it weren't for that, I would never have experienced what it's like to have a little bit of financial freedom. I don't have it anymore. I done dropped back down just like everybody else. But for a minute there, I lived life where for the first time in my life, if I wanted to buy something that was $300 or $500, I didn't have to think twice about it. You know, I had tens of thousands of dollars in my bank account. I was making money. If I wanted to go somewhere, I just bought a plane ticket. I didn't, you know, if I wanted to go somewhere tomorrow, I had a taste of that life. It's what I call financial fitness. Your level of fitness determines what you even imagine doing. And I used to do motivational talks, and the example that I bring up is, let me give you an example. When you're physically fit, like me as a swimmer, if I saw a lake and I wanted to swim across the lake, I could do it. I was physically fit enough to do it. Whereas a lot of people, they see a lake, it would never even occur to them, oh, let me swim across the lake. Now, let me use a financial example. When you're financially fit, you do this. Hey, I want to go skiing in Switzerland. Okay. Ding-a-ling, I call up my travel agent. I say, look, I want to go skiing in Switzerland this weekend. I want to take my 5 best friends, right? I want you to book tickets for tomorrow morning for me and my 5 friends. Book that that resort I like to go to and make sure we get lift tickets for the next 4 days. Okay, click. When you're financially fit, you think, oh, I could go skiing in Switzerland tomorrow if I want. Now, me and you, never occurs to us to go skiing in Switzerland tomorrow. Because the first thing we think of is what? How much is it going to cost?
It's going to cost.
Physically fit for us is like, I can go buy this movie.
Yes.
Rent paid. I'll go get this bottle.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll go to the club. That's physically fit. That's financially fit for us.
Or that pair of Nikes.
Things never even occur to us because we don't have the financial fitness to even contemplate the things. So there are so many things we don't do because we don't think about doing them because we know we don't have what? The power or the fitness. So our horizons, what it is that you even think about doing is determined by your level of fitness, whether it be physical fitness, social fitness, financial fitness. So this is the reason, right, with these athletes, right, they're physically fit and they translate that into a level of financial fitness that the rest of us don't have. And once you get to that point and you see what living is really supposed to be like, not the suffering and the struggle and the worry about can I take my family of 5, to Harold's Chicken? That's $30. I don't even know if I can afford that tonight. The difference in the experience between those with financial fitness and the other 99% of us is the difference between watching black and white television and watching color television. Actually, no, it's more like the difference between the financially fit who are watching color TV and the rest of us who are listening to a radio that only gets 2 stations that you can barely tune into. The experience is so different. And if you want to have a slice of that experience, this society teaches you better become a rapper, an actor.
You better entertain or be known for something.
Or an athlete. You gotta get celebrity status somehow, and you're not gonna get it by being a George Washington Carver and discovering 85 uses for the peanut anymore. You ain't gonna get it for that.
Being smart don't get you paid.
No. So
unless I can't say that now. Being smart don't get you paid unless you can develop an app. That's the new mentality now.
Yeah.
Because you got smart people there to develop an apps and selling them for millions of dollars. So you can't really say that no more. You got to skew it. Unless you're smart enough to make an app worth $5 billion, I suggest you learn how to sing and dance, boy.
So it actually leads me to my next question for the both of you. When it's funny that you mentioned about Way, about you having that life that you, I won't even say you had a taste. I believe you had yourself had the bottle. So
No, trust me. Making $100,000 or $200,000 a year in America is just a swig of the bottle. I saw
okay.
it.
Okay,
okay, that's close.
Let me help you out with that. What he's saying is this: as a black man in America making $100,000 plus a year, not entertaining, not shucking and jiving, and not selling dope. That's a healthy swig, sir. That's a healthy swig of the good life.
That's pretty.
Like look. See, what you looking at is like a swig. We looking at it like this nigga took a top shelf double shot of the Belvedere. You really feeling yourself, my nigga. Nigga, that's $50 a shot.
Right.
Ooh.
But now
you fancy.
Coming back home, and I'm telling you,
now he better let me get that $2. Let me get that $2 Corona right there.
I'm reporting back to my people. I'm telling you.
Hey, welcome back to us common folks. So look,
the E&J ready for you, baby. It's here.
I came from little old cornfield, didn't know nothing, didn't have nothing. Okay? And for a moment there, right? The amount of pressure and stress that I didn't have, the peace of mind that allowed me to think and study and literally just pursue my own dreams, right? That quality of life. I would do motivational speaking in the trucking industry. It was funny. I would take my son with me because I wanted him to see that. And I say, son, look around the room. I was like, how many black people are there in the room? He says, it's just two of us. Yeah, me and you. I was like, have you noticed all these people, 300, 500 people in the room, there's white people, and there's one person on stage, and it's the black man. And he's giving them motivational speaking, telling them how to live their best life. And every single one person in this room got more money than me. And yet they unhappy. They looking for advice on how they can live their best life and not suffer depression and anxiety and be obese and get the most. So how is it that they got all this money, way more than I have, and they haven't figured out how to be happy in life, that they got to pay me to come and tell them for an hour? So I got a chance to see, right, that little bit of money that I had that was granted transformed my life. It did, right? Going from making 30,000 to 100,000, owning your own business. Now, can you imagine these professional athletes with multi-millions of dollars, or somebody like LeBron James?
That's what I said earlier.
Coming up, putting their foot down, being like, "Hey, you're not playing."
So
that's what I said. Take somebody like. Go ahead.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, you LeBron James and you professional athletes are in a position to sacrifice the most, and you still gonna live better than the rest of us.
And which lead me to my next question. Why is there a fear? Everybody wants to be the next Muhammad Ali, but why is the fear of them losing their fame, their notoriety? Why is it such a constant fear for them to actually step out?
Everybody want to be a nigga, but don't nobody want to deal with when it comes to being a nigga. Everybody want to be Ali, but nobody wants to deal with all those moments of rejection, of self doubt, of self hate, of having your own flesh and blood, those that you made that sacrifice for, look at you with an indifferent eye. I know from personal experience that it's a shitty feeling to help someone and sacrifice of yourself for that individual and for that individual to look at you with disdain or look at you with any kind of negative emotion about themselves. It puts you in a real funk and a mind fuck. Folk ain't strong enough psychologically to deal with something like that and to stay fast and to hold strong to the commitment you made. You know, a lot of folk ain't got that asshole dick mentality of I said it, I meant it, and if called on it, I said it and I meant it. I don't give a fuck what it is. If I tell a dude I'll punch you in your fucking face if you got a problem with me, and he steps up, what you got to say? I said I'm gonna punch you in your fucking face if you got a problem with me. I might not be wanting to fight that moment, but I said it, I meant it, and if I got called on it, fuck it. Folk ain't got that mentality no more. Athletes ain't got that mentality to really deal with, like you said, the loss of a career, the loss of that money, the fear of this thing I've invested so much time and I might have a true love for. Like some of these cats love basketball more than they love their kids.
Or themselves. But go ahead and sip away.
Facts.
Well, I mean, their entire identity and sense of self-worth has been reinforced at every level of progressing in the sport. So in the language of neuroscience, they have developed from their amygdala, part of their brain that controls mental processing, they have developed what's called a familiarity heuristic that says, if I keep performing in my sport, I get all of the rewards, all of the social recognition, all of the support that I need. This is now programmed into their subconscious that the way to go through life is to work hard at my sport because I get these results from it. They don't want to be Muhammad Ali's. They want to be Walter Payton's. They want to be Tony Dorsett's. Now I'm dating myself. Okay, they want to be, they want to be Michael Jordan's. Okay, they want to be.
They want to be
Jay-Z.
notable. They don't want to be historic.
Exactly. Wow, that needs to be.
Right there.
They want to be notable, not historical. That need to be what do they call it? That need to be the new hashtag, Beast. That is exactly it.
Sound like a shirt. Sound like a shirt that we be selling at our store.
Notable, not historic.
Because even when you are historical, like Muhammad Ali was beloved by his people. When I say his people, I'm talking about black people all over the planet.
I'm talking about people in general.
Yeah, but those people could not give him things. And if you're a person that is motivated by the material side, the love of the people doesn't cut it for you. You can't put love of the people in the bank. You can't maintain your $12 million mansion and the lifestyle that you've grown accustomed to off the love of the people. So there's very little in our communities that is indicating that if you make the sacrifice for the people, right, that this and like some kind of honor or sense of duty or sense of virtue, that if you do this, then you become a god on this earth. We don't reinforce that enough. What we reinforce is, if you become notable, we're going to listen to you. You're going to sell millions of records. You're going to have a platform. So it's part of living in, again, what Revelations 18 called the whore of Babylon, where the merchants of the earth are the new feudal rulers. They are the major landowners. The rest of us
Commerce
are
is king.
peasants who what? Work for the manor. And the Lord of the manor are the great merchants of the earth. Revelations 18 said, on this day, September 11th, you're going to see the judgment of that system. I'm going to destroy its towers in 1 hour with fire, and the whole world is going to see the smoke of her burning, because these were go back and read Revelations 18. It says the merchants of the earth,
It's there.
those that were selling the onyx, the bdellium. It goes through a list of like 10, 12, 16 different minerals and resources from the earth. And then concludes in the verse and says, and even the souls of men. Revelation 18 was a judgment on the capitalist system that rapes the earth of all of, the cobalt, which makes the cell phone. The souls of men, all of us who are economic wage slaves. He said, I'm going to do something in a time as a sign to tell you to come out of that system. So everybody talking about September 11, talking about, how bad it was. The Bible says when you see it, you're supposed to rejoice. And it says you're supposed to come out of her, because if you stay in her, you're going to get what? Judgments, and you're going to partake of her plagues for all of her sins. Why aren't there preachers on September?
Because
you didn't hear a single preacher today talk about Revelations 18 and relate it to its fulfillment when them towers came down. Not a single preacher will say that.
You're not going to, because that showed the hypocrisy of American Christianity. American Christianity isn't about the truth of the Bible. It's about a Mad Lib. Insert your preferable scripture to define, explain, or excuse whatever the fuck it is you want to.
Is this where I come in and be like, no, that's not right. That's not right. No, you don't know what you're talking. You don't know what you're saying. You do not know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're saying.
You're all beta. That's the only part what you know. You always do what's complete. We love you, bro. We love you, brother. We love you.
Because with the whole shelter, so everybody, if your first time watching the show, Mr. O is on the show. He usually up on here, but he's not gonna be here on Fridays. But we had to do that
now,
because
Professor O, notice I'm the only one that didn't imitate you. Okay, I'm the only one.
Look, I'm going to explain the blackness of it. It's a Southern thing as well. It comes from the black churches, preferably holiness churches, but it's something that we tend to do every a celebration for the New Year's, where it's kind of a game, where you would get the members of the church to go forth, and they would almost like a spiritual Christian game of charades. Whose shout is this? And the whole game was trying to emulate whoever it was. And anyone that's ever been to a black church knows that the spirit can make you do a lot of crazy things that is seen out of that context. You will get thrown in the rubber room. Like if you just randomly see somebody running around the building screaming hallelujah and barking like a chihuahua, you call them boys on her ass. Like, yo, I think she on that stuff. But in the church, she just got the Holy Ghost. She filled with the blessings of the Lord right now. Let her move in her. Let her move in her. Y'all can't clear away. So, this is something that we do. So for those that think that we're picking on, like, no, this is a form of love and affection.
Yeah, because Mr. O definitely would have been disagreeing with you. He will be jumping out his seat. He will be like, no, Peter,
That's his slogan. Mm-hmm. Like I want to get him on the picture, just pointing at somebody with that same intensity. Say, "You are Peter."
Yeah, I'm telling you, Mr. O is probably right now, like cussing us out right now.
Oh, rubber room. I'm sorry, rubber room, not rebel room. Rubber room. Bounce house.
Yeah. So you got. So now I'm thinking about Mr. O now. All right. So all right.
And Morris, remember Jamel Hill recently said, you asked about what about the plan? Okay, so remember, every demand has to have a or else part. So
Correct.
let's look at the college athlete. Our or else can be all our athletes are going to go to historically black colleges and universities.
Well, you know what? I won't even say that. We always talk about change the narrative. Let's change the wordplay. Instead of saying demands, because they always like to say microaggressions. So I explain it in the form of a mafioso like computer term, Boolean expressions. And the setup basically the same way. If this happens, then this action occurs. So if you do not, or if you continue to overlook this issue, and if you continue to not attempt or incline yourself to meet our demands, then we will execute the actions of this, meaning drop out of these prestigious white schools and immediately enroll into HBCs.
Oh my gosh.
Which I believe we should be doing anyways. Right?
Which I'll just to throw this out here, you have schools like North Carolina A&T, which is in my hometown. Not to just plug it, but there's a HBCU that has developed an excellent football program and is now being scouted by the NFL as well. So those who know college football know A&T has been built themselves. So when we talk about movement, I'm just saying, y'all wondering where you could go, Aggie Pride. Now I'm just throwing it out there. Somebody gonna catch it. I'm just throwing it out there.
Well, then also I got to throw out Virginia State. I was informed about that like a long time ago. Like Virginia, I'm going to Virginia State. I was like, Virginia State? Yeah, that's HBCU. I'm like, what? Really? We got a historical black college in Virginia, and I'm like, oh, all right. I mean, it does make a flutter in my heart when I. Speaking of that, there was an athlete who committed to a HBCU live on ESPN.
Yeah, one of the top.
You saw the jaws drop. The jaw drop.
Well, that nigga going where? That's what it says. So that nigga going where?
Mm-hmm.
The question we need to be asking though is, and answering is, why do our best athletes go to these white schools? And we all know the answer. Because the aspiration is, I'm going to make it financially if I can get to the NBA or the NFL. And these are the schools, really that. These are the schools with the best facilities, with the best television deals, like the
best label, right? Best label, best branding
is through this. And we haven't, our community hasn't instilled in our young athletes the sense of build. And like we reinforce the idea, make it to the NFL, make it to the NBA. We're not giving them the message, build HBCU athletics to become the powerhouse in collegiate sports. We don't give them that message. Yeah. We don't give them that historical.
We don't give them that there's an option.
Well, not even an option. We don't tell them that it's their duty, that at this point in our struggle, the historical imperative right now is you must build HBC. If you're a black athlete, your duty is to build HBCUs into the athletic powerhouses, because you do two things simultaneously, right? We recycle our own human resources within our own communities, reinforcing our own educational institutions, while at the same time taking away economics from the establishment. We simultaneously do that. We have to hand that mission to the next generation of athletes. And the current generation of professional athletes are not handing them that mission because they can't, because they don't have that as an authentic testimony. That is not how they made it. So they kind of feel like a hypocrite because they didn't do it that way. So they can't really carry that message. But I'm saying we should say, yes, you can. Even though you didn't make it that way, you all are in the position as professional athletes to say, I'm going to support you. I'm going to do everything you can in helping you in this mission to make HBUs the athletic powerhouses, in which that's where you start to see what? A transfer of wealth, reducing the racial wealth gap.
Which
Why? Because
go ahead,
the resource that we have that they're harvesting, not only are they taking the cobalt out of Mali and other places in Africa, they're not only taking the mineral resource, they're taking the human resource in the form of our genetic athletic prowess, and they're harvesting it for their benefit. Mm-hmm. And we're voluntarily giving it to them.
That's crazy. But I was about to say,
I was going to say,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's a mentality, right? I didn't just think this yesterday. I have been a student of revolutionary Black nationalism my entire adult life. So you're seeing the production when you consume a different narrative, when you consume a different education, you're going to produce a different kind of thinking. That's what you're witnessing. This is why I always have a different take on everything.
Speaking of different take, Beach Johnson just decided to leave us. I don't know what the heck's going on. So, which summed up for me individualism. And that has been the biggest problem when it comes to Black athletes and Black entertainers. How can we expel that? Because it seemed like, let's just use your story, for example. Let's say me and you've been growing up for the longest period of time together, and then you went on to your career being a swimmer, and Beach Johnson decided to come on back on in. Welcome back, Beach Johnson. But
I don't know what happened just then. That was very random.
So you went on to do your thing, and then let's say I'm coming up the ranks, and I'm asking you for some advice, like, hey man, you did this, you did that, what should I do? And you're like, well man, I had to work up here my damn self. I got here with hard work. You can figure it out for yourself. Why do we do that? Why is that?
Because we don't realize the true value of helping. And I guess if you're from a small town, you kind of understand the whole Kevin Bacon-like game of connections. And that whole, it ain't what you know, it's who you know. But they both kind of balance each other out and take part. So for that example, you come up and let's say in reverse, you give them that information. Now, whatever idea or strategy that they personally have, they're able to take the information that you gave them and implement it to success. Possibly a greater success than you or them either thought possible. And you remember that advice and you remember that motivation, as trivial as it might have been to the individual that gave it to you. It was a very profound moment for you. And you might run across that, run across them again and get blessed and, bless that individual. And it also happens on the back. You never know who you're going to meet when you're going to meet them. Just because I meet you at a particular bad moment or have a bad experience, don't mean the tables can't turn. So, when you're out here helping folks, you always want, the easy way I can sum it up is a line from CeeLo's song that says, can't you see, if I help somebody, maybe that's mercy on me. If I put forth out that helpful energy is only going to return to me in some form or fashion. And it may come from an individual that I help, only making that energy even more stronger and that help even more profound.
What about you, Secret Way?
What was your question?
Individualism. Like you see that a lot in us black folks when we up there in celebrity and up there in fame, where we just like when things happen, like what's going on right now, they're like, well, as long as my family and my businesses and all that stuff is good, then I shouldn't even worry about it. Or that one close friend that was doing the same thing but didn't get a fast track as you did or took the right steps as you did, asking for advice. And you like, no, man, you need to go and get yours. What do you think, or have you ever dealt with something like that before?
Well, we are all the products of our environments. So we're the product of our home environment, we're the product of our local environment, like the town we live in and stuff like that. And we're the product of our national environment. Okay. So my opinion is a lot of it has to do with the mission or lack thereof that you get from these different environments. So, for example, my father was given the mission he was raised by his mother. My father was given the mission, you are going to go to college, you're going to get an education, and you're going to use that education to make a better life. That was the mission he was given. And then his mother, my grandmother, structured her life to support that mission, where all my father had to do was execute. Now, my father in turn did that. He went to school, he got a degree in mathematics, and he used that to make a better life. And the mission that he then had as a father was, right, I have to help my son find something that he is passionate about, that he's good at, so that he can develop his full potential, that will keep him off the streets and out of trouble, so that he can make a way in this world for himself. And then my father devoted him. I was raised by my father, it was just me and my father. He
Mhm.
devoted himself. My father used to have a saying. He used to say, you can never have too many feathers in your cap. I used to laugh when he would say that. But what he meant was, he would give me whatever opportunity. If I woke up and said, I want to play the saxophone, he would try to find a way to get me in a band and get me a saxophone and get me lessons. And then he would always tell me, you always finish what you start. You never quit, because if you don't finish what you start, all you did was practice making excuses and becoming good at quitting. He said at the end of the season, at the end of the band season, whatever, if you don't want to play anymore, then you can move on to something. So whatever you start, you finish. But then if you don't want to continue doing that, you go on and find something else. And so he would always support. If I said, I want to do this, then he would, as a father, provide me the opportunity as best he could to do that. And so he gave me the mission. He sat me down and he said, listen, whatever you do, always give your best. It takes the same amount of time and energy and effort to do something crappy or to do something well. If it's worth doing, it's worth doing well. And if you
Right.
do it well and you do it correctly the first time, you're going to have more freedom to go on and do other things. If you do something
Yeah,
shitty,
exactly.
chances are you got to go back over and do it again. It's going to take more time. So he handed me the mission that you are to find things that you genuinely want to do and then do your best. And then he organized his life to support that mission. My father would get up at 4:30 in the morning to drive me to swim practice and wait for 2 hours, drive me back home, go to work, leave work early, pick me up, drive me back to swim practice, wait another 2 hours, and then go home. As a single dad, So what I'm saying is
Mm.
that individualism comes from the mission that we're giving the generation, that we've been giving to them, I'd say since the 80s or 90s. You had half of the young black men getting caught up in the drug war. Myself got caught up in that, getting caught up in the drug war. And then you had the rest of them saying, whatever you do, don't get caught up in the drug war. Okay. And the national culture we live in is an individualistic, capitalistic culture. So if you didn't have either a community or a family that could give you a stronger sense of duty, then of course you're going to come out of that concerned about what? It's all about the Benjamins. Make money, make money, make money, right? And it's about
Self-preservation.
take care of minds.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, it's like if there's not a mother or a father whose primary duty is to create a mission for their children to fulfill and then organize their lives to support their children fulfilling that mission, because this is what a lot of white families do. They'll organize their life around the sports activities or the extracurricular activities of their children, get them the best coaching and stuff like that. And a lot of times we don't do that. One, because we're not financially fit. We don't have the time management fitness because of our economic conditions. And so a lot of our community, it's like it takes so much effort to sustain a supportive environment for that mission that the young people are just left off on their own. They're not getting the support from a parent or from a family structure or from the community structure, right? They're not getting, so they're like, well, I'm on my own. I'm on my own. That's what they get inherently.
They
And
called us
there has
latchkey
to
back
be
in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
we have to return, like the adult generation now has to somehow use social media to say that the historical imperative of young athletes now and give them a mission and then try to direct our resources to those who fulfill that mission.
Mm. And with that, I think that's a perfect time for us because we hit the final part of the show. Once again, apologize for having it as a late show. But other than that, before we head on out, how is things up there in Milwaukee, Superway?
Well, it's real quiet right now. I've been in the hotel room most of the night. I mean, I don't like going out too much anyways. It's real quiet right now, but I know that, I mean, we're talking about celebrities, so I do have to acknowledge Jay-Z called our family earlier. Curtis Blow, uh,
What? That's a
and
throwback.
some other entertainers are bringing
I'm more honored
entertainers
at
to
that than
Milwaukee
anything else.
tomorrow. There are going to. What's that?
I said I was more honored when you
I
said
didn't hear you,
Jay
Beast
Z.
Boy.
I was like, You said Jay Z. I was like, yeah. You said Curtis Blow. I was like, what? Curtis
Mhm.
Blow?
Yeah.
These are the
Yes.
breaks.
Yeah. Right. So, I don't even know all of the entertainers that have stepped up to communicate and try to help our family, but I know that a lot of them have been involved with organizing the rally in Milwaukee tomorrow. Um, um, if they put me up on the stage, you already know what I'm going to say, and
Give him hell.
Give them hell for us.
I'm a pure fire because my mission now is I do want to be the Muhammad Ali. I want to say the thing that needs to be said, regardless of the consequences. I've made my peace already. I've already talked to my sons. I've already talked to my family. They already know if something happened to me, right, or whatever. I I had to tell my sons that you can't be. We don't believe that you can be completely destroyed or killed. if something happens and your soul or spirit is severed from your body, you are still existing in the universe. So don't be so attached to this. It's better to be the hero, to stand up for justice or whatever your conscience is telling you is the right thing to do. It is better to submit to that, regardless of what could happen to you, because you will still be rewarded for it, just not in this physical earth. You're going to be rewarded somewhere else in the universe. I have to reinforce that to my son every day, so that if he is ever in a situation where he has to protect the sanctity of Black life with his own life, he won't be afraid. So I have to show my son the example of that. So I have to stand up and say the things that I've been saying on this show, if I had to say it in front of a whole crowd of people or whatever. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. They will not let me visit my cousin Jacob in the hospital. They are not letting too many people visit, even family members. So I haven't been able to see my cousin. But I will see my uncle, his father, tomorrow. He'll be at the rally. And I'll be able to thank a lot more people when I see him tomorrow.
That's good. Hey, tell your uncle we would love to have him back on the show, and that he held it down because I watched that Don Lemon interview that you sent to me. He said he's still firm, and you know I give Don Lemon some props. He wasn't trying to every time when your uncle would say something, he always had a question that was very had something behind it. So I give Don Lemon credit for that, but. Your uncle stood his ground. He said what he said in the words of Nene Leak. So I appreciate him for that. So tell him if you want to show he's invited anytime to come on.
You bet. Yeah, and I'm sure sometime after this rally, maybe things are quiet down. And he'll be less busy. I'm sure he'll like a chance to come on the show. And he have a lot of things to say. He is learning a lot. My uncle is learning because he's sort of the center of the activism part of this when it comes to our family, right?
Yeah.
And he's the one that is feeling, organizing things and getting phone calls and all of that. And he's seeing how our community, those that step up, those that don't, those that was saying, he's learning a whole lot about our condition right now. So I think he'll have a lot to say in the coming weeks.
Speaking of that, on this subject, any last comments before we go into the final thoughts?
I'm good.
Nah.
I do got alibi. Then we gonna head on out. My alibi is this. It's hard playing the black hat because I agree with everything y'all said, and I was supposed to be the one that be like, okay, what about this? What about this?
This is an old school moment. It's like, that was perfect.
It was like everything y'all said was spot on. I said I can't even counter that. I said now I just gotta have questions where I'm sort of agreeing, but at the same time seeing what they're gonna do. It's like damn. But so that's
how you debate.
Yeah. It was like god damn. That's when you want a debate. But let's go ahead and hit into these final thoughts, and I'm gonna go on ahead and I guess I'm just gonna lead into it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, another great show. Mr. O, he wasn't with us. Mr. O, wherever you're doing, when we made fun of you, we doing our love. We love you and all that stuff. I had to challenge you. Thank you for everybody for tuning into the show. Once again, continue to tell your friends, your family, friends, people that don't even look like me. I had Shannon. I actually used to work with her in Kentucky. She actually was looking at she was watching the show. Yes, she's a white woman, but it's great that she actually loved the show. But that's what it's all about. When you step in our world, we could care less about your feelings or what you feel. What you hear from us, you're gonna get it. real, raw, and that's how it is. But it's going to pay for me to say this. Next week, there will be no hashtag Faith to Black until Friday. I'm going to be on leave. I'm going to be out of town. But I will be running reruns of our show the whole week. So keep that in mind. But there will be no shows for the majority of the week, all the way until the 18th of September. So, first of all, thank each and every one of y'all. I'd like to thank my panel for coming on, even with my late ass. I'm the one, it's what, the fourth time I've been late on the show. but other than that, I appreciate them. Sleep away, stay safe out there, man. You know you got my support. I know you got Beach Johnson support. Also, Teach, even though she's not here, got her support. Even Mr. O, you got his support as well. To go out there. Hopefully, there's some video footage of you with the speech, so I can put on the show, so I can show people like, yo, this is what a powerful speech looked like. This is no just get the crowd out and just make everybody want to dance. No. Will make people, if you tell them to go run through a wall, that they feel like they can run through a wall type of speech, that we got to do something type of speech. Damn, I almost shook a damn mic. But stay safe. Wish nothing but the best for Jacob Blake, and that his road to a full recovery, ladies and gentlemen. Stop listening to the media saying that he's paralyzed. He's not paralyzed. A full recovery, slow road to a full recovery. Our blessings are with the Blake family. And thank y'all for tuning in to the show.
I'm gonna make it real quick. ELE. Everybody love everybody. You ain't got to like somebody for their particular ways, for their particular views. That's respectable. No one can fault you for that. But we're all human. We all live and die. We're all going to be happy. We're all going to be sad. Every emotion on the spectrum and everything that possibly could happen or generally does happen in one's life, we all experience it at different forms and variations. Some sooner than others, some later than others. It's that common similarity that we should understand and accept. You know, the Bible says, love your neighbor. It doesn't say you gotta like him. I love my neighbor because he's a cool dude and, you know, he's there. But I don't like that person. You can't fault them. I love my parents. I love my mother. Did not like that personality she had. Did not like her attitude. But I loved her. So remember, everybody, ELE. Everybody love everybody. Have a good night and a great weekend.
Well, my final thought for tonight, since it's September 11th, again, I want to encourage everyone. Read Revelations 18. Now, I'm not a Christian. I don't believe the Bible is the Word of God. But I have studied the Bible and I know Christian scriptures. Read Revelations 18 and understand the context of Revelations 18 is a judgment on the merchants of the earth. Just read it for yourself and see, do you see that it is very similar to what happened on September 11th? My other final thought is, athletes, stop making your white professional league plantation owners money. Stop putting money in their pockets. No matter how many millions of dollars they're paying you, they're making more money. Why are you voluntarily helping the white professional league plantation owner to prosper? Because you're getting something from it? This is the time when athletes should be flexing their power and providing the or else part of our demand and saying we will use our power nonviolently and cause massive economic damage to 30 cities if you don't prosecute these corrupt cops and negotiate our land. That's my final thought.
And ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for us. Once again, there is no show until September 18th. I will be running reruns and could be some other great content that could be running. But I know for a fact it's going to be past shows that we did that you loved or missed. On that, it's time for us to go. I think we already stabbed this show. We kind of overkilling it and all that stuff. But once again, Sleepaway, stay safe out there, man. Streets are still hot. Streets are still crazy. We want you to come back in one piece, and like I said, love and blessings and everything to your family. Everything. So once again, for Beach Johnson, from Sleepaway, and your host, Donna Elamont Timors, thank y'all for tuning in to another great edition of hashtag Fade to Black. And once again, we got a shout out to our number one fan, Keith McCary. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, Keith.
We got
be easy.
Yeah, we got to give you a gift, man. I'm telling you, you've been dedicated. And this is all due to Teach. I've been talking to Teach. She's like, we need to give him something. He's been watching the show like almost every time we come on. So I'm like, yeah, you're right. But on that, let's go ahead and head on out. It's been real, y'all. We out. Bye.